Remind you about the Lech, I forgot to, right? Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so why are we learning Lech lecha? It's Parshas Vayigash. It's not related to the Parsha. It's a Mamar on the Parsha of Lech lecha. And it's a Mamar that's very general. And the Pasuk in Chumash actually talks about Avraham Avinu at a certain early stage in his journey. And Hashem told him, Lech lecha. So from this Mamar, we learn to apply this to each and every one of ourselves, that when we are starting our journey, the way to begin the journey is Lech lecha. That's what the Mamar is about. Now we'll do the details. So this is the first pasuk in the third parsha of the Chumash. Yomer Avaya el Avram, and Hashem said to Avram, Lech lecha, go, me'artzecha, from your land. Here's more, whoever needs. Sorry. Go from your land, me'ladetecha, from your place of birth, Beis Avicha, from your father's home. And where should you go? El ha'aretz asher areka, to the land that I will show you. So didn't tell him exactly where this is. You'll see. As you travel, I'll show you eventually where you should go to. And of course, this was to go to Eretz Yisrael. As every Mamar usually begins with questions on the pasuk. And then the Mamar goes on to explain a certain subject, and then comes back to answer the questions. First of the questions, need to understand, why does it say Lech lecha, which means go to you? L'cheira, hine teves lecha, the word lecha, miyuteres, is extra, it's unnecessary. All it could have said was just Lech, go. The main intention that Hashem had when he said these words was you should leave your land and go to another land. Maspik lemed would have been enough to say, Lech me'artzecha, leave your land. And Mahu, Lech lecha, what does it mean by Lech lecha, go to you? Then we know Rashi and Chumash gives an explanation, but again, this is not a contradiction. That's one explanation, and this is going into more of a ruchnizik, more of a spiritual understanding, a deeper understanding of why it says the words Lech lecha. Another question: the order, the way the Torah describes Avraham Avinu leaving the land that he was in. So it says three things: Me'artzecha, from your land, Me'ladetecha, from your place of birth, and Beis Avicha, from your father's home. Shechoshev kan shleishim yonim, he lists three things: Hayitziim in the Aretz, first to leave the land, the place of birth, and his father's home. We know Torah, everything is precise. Even the order of things is precise. So the order should have been reverse. Why? When a person leaves a country, the last thing that he leaves is the country. Before that, he leaves his city. And before that, he lives the actual home. So the first thing would have been the base of it, leave your father's home. Then you leave the city or the neighborhood where you grew up, where you were born. And after that, you leave the entire country, you go to another country. The Oz heavy beseder mesudar, then it would be in a proper order. Delay zu avzu. This is a term that's found in Gemara, that sometimes when you put things in a certain order, either you put them in the order where you say the most important is first, and then you go your way down, or you do your way up. So here it's going, Leizu Avzu means to the order of going up. Not only am I asking you to leave your father's home, I'm also asking you to leave your place of birth. And not only am I asking you to leave your place of birth, I'm asking you to leave the entire country, so that we understand the order. Each step is more than the step before. But once he says the first thing, Yitzim in the Oretz, leave your country, so then naturally, naturally you already left your city and you left the home where you grew up. They're telling somebody, I want you to leave America, and you should also leave New York City. If you're leaving America, automatically you left New York City. And also leave your house on Eastern Parkway. So once you say that the country, everything is included. Say the Hazeh, so the order that's in the Chumash, Yuksha, it's questioned, Lama, Maskir, Kalalis, and what does it even mention? Miladata, his place of birth, base of him and his father's home. Say the Hazeh Dafka. Clearly, there must be an intention why it's Dafka, the reverse order of what I would have thought. Now, a third point, being that the Torah says you should leave your land and go to the land that I will show you. Both it says Eretz. Eretz means the land. It doesn't say Lech min hamokem hazeh. It doesn't say leave this place and go to the place that I will show you. But he emphasizes the word Eretz, leave the land. So from the fact that he emphasized the word Eretz, Hidgish Hatayr Eretz, movement, it's understood. The Ikaru, apparently the most important part in this whole process, in this journey, is Ahiluch, is the leaving this land to a different land, something to do with the land itself. Later in the Mamar, we'll explain what is the meaning of Eretz, and what's the difference between this Eretz and that Eretz. So we need to understand why is the Torah using this precise wording? What does it teach us? Now he starts the explanation. And first, the first thing is referring to the first question. In the Alshich is one of the most famous commentators on Torah. He lived about 400 years ago in Tzfas. In fact, at that time, Tzfas was an amazing place. It had the Beis Yosef living, Rabbi Yosef Karo. It had the Shalah living together in the same place, and the Alshich. And more, these are the greatest sages of the generation. They're all in one place in Tzfas. The Arizal also. I didn't mention the Arizal. Sorry, I meant to say the Arizal.
So Alshich it's a place?
Alshich, it's the name of a person. Yeah. He wrote a Pirush on Chumash in Tanakh. So he says that the words Lech lecha mean Lech la'atzmecha, go to you, means Shiagia l'sheresh u'makar nishmasei. A person should go, it's talking to Avram, go to the source of your neshama, the way the neshama is l'mayla, up there in Shamayim. And he continues, in order that your Aveda should make an impression in the heavenly realm, and through that, it'll draw down godliness down here on earth. This is only if you're connected to the source of your neshama. What is he saying? We just had the Parsha Vayetze, where Yaakov had a dream. And in the dream, he saw a ladder. And on the ladder, he saw angels. And what does it say about the angels? The angels were going up and the angels were going down. So we know that one of the questions in that pasuk is, why does it say the angels were going up and going down? It should have said the reverse. First, angels come down, then they go up, because the angels are up there. So you might say they go down and they go up. Why do we say they're going up and they're going down? And Rashi actually raises that question. I don't know if you ever heard the story, but usually when the people learn this parsha, they always tell the story. And the story is about Rabbi Yitzchak of Raditchev when he was a little child, and he was in Cheder. Every single question that Rashi asks, he would ask before they even learned it. When it came to this pasuk, he didn't ask the question. So the teacher said to him, "Don't you have a question on this pasuk?" No. And he told him what the question is. Why didn't you ask this question? He said, because it's just a dream. You don't ask questions on dreams. But of course, this wasn't an ordinary dream. This was a prophetic vision. This was a prophecy. And there's tremendous depth, infinite depth, and commentary and explanations to what's the ladder, and what are the angels, what's going up, what's going down, and so on. One of the explanations are that when we do mitzvahs or we learn Torah, we want that the Torah, the mitzvahs we do, goes up to Hashem. In fact, in the Zohar it says that mitzvahs need wings, just like a bird needs wings to fly. Mitzvahs also need wings. What do they need wings for? Where are they going? They have to fly up to Hashem. What are the wings? This is in Zohar. The Zohar says the wings are love for Hashem and fear of Hashem. If you do mitzvahs without love and fear of Hashem, you did the mitzvah. Technically, you fulfilled your obligation, but it doesn't fly up to Hashem. It's a nice way of speaking, but what does it mean? Doesn't fly up? Where does it have to fly? Where's it going? Physically flying up to the sky, to the moon, Jupiter, Mars. Where's it going? No, it's going to the spiritual realm. When we say up, we don't mean in physical space. It's like you say the prices went up. You don't mean that the dollar bill jumped up somewhere on top of a roof. It's not space. A person was promoted to a higher level in his work. A person was promoted to a higher level in his political position. It's not a physical space, it's a level. We're talking about up, means up into Shamayim, the spiritual realm. Why is that necessary? What does that mean? If you want, you can explain it in a very simple way. When it goes up, it means to say that my mitzvah and the Torah that I study, the whole purpose is that through this you become connected to Hashem. We just finished spending a few days on Hanukkah to explain that the main purpose of Torah is it's God's wisdom. And by learning Torah, we connect to Hashem. The main purpose of mitzvahs is that it's Hashem's mitzvahs. And when you do a mitzvah, you connect to Hashem. When we say go up, what it means in different words is that my mitzvah should really connect to Hashem. It's there to cause a connection. And if I do a mitzvah and it doesn't go up, it means I did the mitzvah, I fulfilled my obligation, but it didn't really bring a stronger bond between me and Hashem because it wasn't done with the right intention. Imagine This is my homemade mushroom, it's not from the Mamar. That you give somebody a present because of friendship. You buy your friend a present, or parents buy children a present, children buy parents a present, a spouse. When you give the present, it creates a closer relationship with the two people. What if you come over to a friend and you say, I saw on the calendar that today is your birthday, and it says on the bottom a note, on a birthday you should buy your friend a present. So because it says on the note to buy a present, I decided to buy you a present. What? So you brought the present. Technically, you brought the present, but I wouldn't say that this would create a tremendous love and connection between you and the other person. Why? Because you did it, because technically you're obligated to do it. When does it make a connection? When you do it out of love, out of feeling, then it really makes a connection. So in a sense, the same with Hashem. When I learn Torah and I do mitzvahs, and I do it with love of Hashem, and I have true awe of Hashem, then the mitzvah has life to it. The Torah has life to it, and it makes a real connection with Hashem. That's what it means. It flies up. That's the metaphor of the wings. Follow me, everybody? Yeah.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
If we need to, like, for example, keep kosher, so how we do it, not because it's mitzvah.
How do we do it?
Yeah, for example, how we do it through Chassidus, like through connection.
No, it means, in other words, without what we just finished saying, a person feels, listen, God is the boss. He controls the world. I better listen to him. So I'm following orders. You know, like in the military, the general says to do this, the captain says to do that. I follow orders. There's no emotion, there's no life, there's no feeling. But the other way of doing kashrus or anything that I do is that I know this is Hashem's mitzvah and I do it, like I said, with a feeling of love, enjoyment, pleasure.
I do it because I want to connect Hashem.
Right. Like I said, I'm using the example. If you have a friend, or let's say you have a child that you really want to make the child happy, and you go shopping, you look for something nice, really cute, then you come home and you surprise the child with a present. You're a little excited about what you're doing, and you want to create a closer connection with that child by buying this present. It's not just a technical thing that you read in a book that on a child's birthday you should buy him a present. So that's what I'm saying. With Hashem, I'm keeping Shabbos. I want to feel excited about Shabbos because by keeping Shabbos, I am connecting to Hashem. It doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to benefit from all the rewards physically, spiritually, but what motivates me, the drive to keep Shabbos, the drive to eat matzah, the drive to do lulav and esrog and to hear shofar is I know through this I'm connecting to Hashem. And that's the wings to the mitzvahs. There's a famous story with the Baal Shem Tov that he was once traveling and he came to a town where the people were showing him around. This is the shul, this is the yeshiva. When they came to the shul was a shul that had a few hundred people, and each one of them was a great big Torah scholar. So Baal Shem Tov said, I can't go in here. There's so much Torah in here, I can't go in. So they took it as a compliment that these people are so great in their Torah knowledge. Baal Shem Tov is like humbled and he can't walk into that shul. Baal Shem Tov says, no, you didn't understand me. It says in the Zohar, when you learn Torah properly, the Torah goes to Shemayim. And if you don't, what happens to it? It stays down here. This shul is packed with Torah.
Wow.
There's so many people, they're learning a lot of Torah and it's not going anywhere. So I can't fit in. It's too crowded. That's what he meant. It's crowded with Torah. Again, we're speaking about something spiritual, but it's a metaphoric language. So this is the message of the dream. Why it says the angels go up. When I do a mitzvah and I learn Torah, the mitzvah and the Torah goes up to Shemayim. It goes up into heaven, in the spiritual realm. When it goes up to the spiritual realm, it accomplishes things in Atzilas, Bria, Yetzirah, in the spiritual realm. We learned about this numerous times, how this mitzvah is connected to the Yud of Hashem's name. This mitzvah is connected to the Hey of Hashem's name. So when we do things here, we're actually accomplishing things in the spiritual realm. The second thing is, by accomplishing good things up there, it draws down blessing down here. Blessing Baruchni is, blessing Begashmi is. Let's say now it's Hanukkah. The mitzvah of Hanukkah is to light the candles. So when we light candles, by lighting the candles, we are creating something which is a mitzvah. And as a result of that, this light goes up to Shemayim. The candles that I light down here, I see in my house. People can see through the window. This is technical. But what happens is much greater than that. This mitzvah goes up all the way to the highest levels of the spiritual worlds, accomplishes things up there, and then from there it draws down light down here. What's the light? The light is that affects me. I become more refined. I become more godly. As we learned in class, I become more aware of the godliness in Torah, not like the Yevonim. I become more aware of the godliness in mitzvahs. That's a result of what I did, the Hanukkah lights that I kindled. So that's why the angels go up and the angels come down. So the Shalah says, the Alshich says, that the only way this is going to happen, this is something amazing. I'm doing something here. I take a cup of water, I make a bracha shahakol niyamidvarei, and through that I'm sending something up to Shemayim. And not only that, but from there things are coming down here. Baruch Hashem, today, we don't have to be a rocket scientist. 4 years ago, to explain it to someone would be like, have to break your head to try to understand what are we talking about. Today, Begashmis, we have something called, let's give an example, a GPS. What do? You put in a certain address. Where does it go, what you're doing? Where does it reach? Satellite. Where is the satellite? It's up there. Then what does the satellite do? It sends a signal down here and tells me, make 3 turns. It's 322 and a half feet from where you're standing. Better than what I can see with my eyes, exactly how to get there. So basically, I send a signal up there, and from up there, they send back a signal down here. This is a perfect example of what happens when you do mitzvahs. What happens when you learn Torah. You send spiritual signals up there, and from up there, it sends spiritual signals down here. And the signals is 2 things. Number 1, Gashmias, brachas and health and happiness and parnasa and all good things. And number 2 is also signals spiritually that I'm inspired and I feel godliness and I feel uplifted and I'm able to overcome my Yetzer Hara. These are the spiritual signals and rewards that we get. But you all understand that if you would take a device, which is GPS, but it's not connected to the internet, not connected to anything, you can fetch all you want. You can jump on it, you can stamp on it, you can beat it, you can scream at it, nothing's going to happen. It has to be connected, right? I think so. If it's not connected, you're wasting your time. Spiritually, the only way the neshama could do this is if it's connected. Connected to what? Connected to its roots. The neshama, the maila, there's a part of my neshama that's up there. We'll soon explain. And that's where all the energy is. That's the source of spiritual energy. If I connect to the source, if I plug in, then the signals will go up and the signals will come down. But if I'm not connected to the source, I don't have that power. It's like having the most state-of-the-art device, but it's not connected to any power, not to the electricity or not to the internet, not to anything. It's not going to do anything. What is the source? What is it? The neshama as it is l'mayla. So now we have to explain what that means. Let's look at the words inside again. So we'll see it here again clearly. Alshich. The Alshich says, Lech lecha la'atzmucha, hainu shiyagia l'sherish u'makar nishmaseh. A person should reach the source of his neshama. Kamoi shehi l'mayla. That's where all the power is, the spiritual power. In order that your avodah should make an impression in the heavenly realm, And also, al yodam yumshav gila lekus lemata, and through your avodah, you will bring down godliness down here. Zerak, this can only happen if you are connected to the source. If you're not connected to the source, every morning I have to go on my computer, and here in Machon, I have a very nice surprise. It says you're not connected. I finally found out how to get connected. I knew what to do. I click on, I get connected. But if I'm not connected, I click on this and I click on that, nothing happens. I connect, I can speak to someone in the other end of the world. So the connection spiritually is, I need to be connected to my source of my neshama. What is that? We should, even though we know the neshama comes down and becomes invested in the body, but not the entire neshama comes down and gets invested in the body. Rak ha'ora, the masham established beguf rak ha'ora or mitzvahs and neshama. What becomes invested in the body is only a reflection and a small part of the neshama that goes into the body. Where's the rest of it? The rest of it stays up there.
Only small part of neshama is going to the body.
Right. And the rest of the neshama stays up there. When you hear these words, you try to imagine it's like a piece of bubble gum. The part of the neshama is up there, and it stretches down. A small little piece goes into the body, but it's not gashmi. So what does it mean? It stays up there. A small part comes here. So this is the mashal that comes to my mind. If anyone has a better mashal, you're welcome. The mashal that comes to my mind is if an adult plays with a child. If you want it to be effective, then you have to sort of really come down to the child's level. There's certain people that can't play with children because they're so adulty, they can't relate to a child. And they can't get down on the floor, and they can't get excited and shriek and scream and shout. And it doesn't work. If you want to really play with the child, get down on the floor, play with them, get excited. And to a certain extent, you become like a little child for a short moment while you're playing with them. Do you really become a child? I see you enjoyed Maya. They say in psychology that we all have the child within. And when we relate to children, it's because we bring out that child within, which is to a certain extent, it's true. We go down to the level of the child. But when you go down to the level of the child and you become a child for those few minutes or hours that you're playing with the child, there's a part of you that doesn't really change. You still remain an adult. But there's a part of you that becomes like a little child. If I would ask a question percentage-wise, what would you say? 99% I'm an adult and 1% a child? Or 99% I become a child and 1% of me is an adult? And well, maybe some people, maybe they turn into children. That's possible. I remember once years ago when I was in charge of it was a camp, and there were counselors. They weren't so much older than the children, but they were the counselors. And the children were having some sort of a competition. But then the counselors got into a big fight. You won, I won. I'm thinking to myself, wait a second, this is for the children. What are you guys getting all excited about? But what happened was they really went down to the place of the children and they became like the kids. That's not the way it's supposed to be. An adult is an adult. And I come down to the level of a child. It means some part of me really lowers myself and invests myself into the mentality of a child. But I'm still the adult that I am. Nothing really changed in reality. So it's not a question of space. Same as with the neshama. There's a part of the neshama, before the neshama came down, the neshama sees godliness, hears godliness, experiences godliness. As it doesn't have sweet expression up there. Has only godliness up there. There's no popcorn, there's no ice cream, and there's no steak, And there's not even pizza. There's nothing up there. Up there is just spirituality. And the neshama enjoys only spirituality. Doesn't even understand how is it possible that there can be people that don't recognize Hashem. And then the neshama comes down. So what we're saying is there's a part of our neshama, every one of us, that nothing changed. There's a part of my neshama that still sees, hears, feels, experiences, whatever is going on in the spiritual realm. There's a small part of my neshama, which is called a ha'ara, a reflection, that goes into the body, and that's the part that we're conscious of, that we feel, and that's the part that sees Gashmis, and we have to struggle to feel something spiritual. And this is a very, very basic principle in Yiddishkeit. It's a very basic principle in Yiddishkeit, and in Chassidus, that explains a lot of things, that there's two parts to our neshama. And it's brought out in different words and different terms, but this is the same idea. There's a part of my neshama that never came down. It maintains the same level of spirituality as before. And that's the part of my neshama that can relate to things on a higher level. Someone just posted a story, and he wrote, he's a shliach, and he wrote that I got a phone call yesterday, this just happened, and the person on the phone said to him, I don't want to tell you my name, but I want to ask you a question. I was born Jewish. I converted to a different religion. Is it possible to convert back to Judaism? So he explained to him, not only it's possible, but you really never lost your Judaism. And he got into a conversation. And then he said to him, could you tell me what is it that made you change? So he said, well, I was walking down the street and I saw a car drive by with a menorah on top. I can't explain it. When I saw that menorah, something in me just jumped and I felt I have to go back to being Jewish. Explain it psychologically, explain it any way you want, it doesn't make any sense. The only way you can explain it is a neshama, and the neshama is connected. And when they saw the menorah, the neshama flared up, and that affected the person, and that's where the feelings came from. That's what it is. So basically, this mind is going to be based a lot on this point, that there's two parts to the neshama. And there's one part of my neshama that's very much in tune. Like right now, it's Hanukkah. Up there is major spiritual things happening. Down here, it's quiet. It's like someone told me, who came to my house, "You're just so lucky you live on Eastern Parkway. I live on Empire Boulevard. I don't hear a word. And it's like there's a regular day on Eastern Parkway. There's music and there's tanks and Yontif is in the streets. People are coming and going 770. So over there, it's all quiet. And over here, there's a lot of noise. Down here in this world, it's very quiet. Up there, there's lights shining. I think I told you this once, that in 1994, there was a report on the radio, they were talking about it, that there was a phenomenon going on with the stars. And that was that there was meters that were crashing into Jupiter for an entire week. An entire week. The amazing thing was that people found the source of this later in the Zohar, that he says that it's connected to Mashiach. Jupiter is called, the star is called Tzedek. It's another story. I just want to talk about this technical part. After it was over, they said that the scientists said, if you'd have to describe what was going on up there, it would be as if planet Earth was hit by 3 billion atom bombs. Could you imagine the noise? Could you imagine the fireworks? Could you imagine what would be going on? So now this is happening in Jupiter, and we're walking down the street. We don't hear anything. We don't see anything. We don't feel anything. Why is that? How come we don't see anything? I mean, such a phenomenon is going on. 3 billion atom bombs crashing into a planet. How come we don't see it? We don't hear it? What?
Who said it?
The scientists said it when it was happening, 1994. You can look it up on Google, Schmoogle, and you'll see, they'll probably tell you all about it. That's the Jewish name for Google. So the reason is, you know why? Because it's so far away. How could we hear it? They have equipment that they can see what's going on there. They have equipment that they can hear what's happening there. So they hear, but when you're down here, you don't hear a thing because we're millions of miles away, millions of miles. How can we hear and how can we see? Same thing spiritually. Right now during Hanukkah, we can't even imagine the explosions, the spiritual explosions of light and everything that's going on in the spiritual realm. We don't hear anything. We don't see anything because we're far away. But the part of my neshama that's up there sees and hears, and that part of my neshama gets excited. All we need is to be able to get connected to that part of my neshama, and then we're energized in a whole different way. So that's what he's saying here. That lecha means connect to your part of the neshama that's up there. Even though it says, that Hashem blew a breath of life into the person. It says in the Zohar, when a person blows, they blows from their inner self. And the Alter Rebbe in Tanya says, let's turn the page, that means that when Hashem gave us the neshama, it comes from the essence of Hashem. Our neshama is connected to the essence of Hashem. But the way the neshama came down here, is raka ora levad. It's only a reflection of the etzem of neshama that remains up there, and that part of neshama is kshura udvuka l'lekim chayim. That part of the neshama is bound and attached to Hashem, who is the source of all life. And this is what it means when we say in davening every morning, the neshama and the satavi, the neshama that you gave me, tahiri, it's pure. What does it mean? How can I say my neshama is pure? I'm not so pure. I'm not perfect. I don't always do only mitzvahs. But it's talking about shirish and neshama, the root of the neshama, the source. It's pure. Bechinas tehiru ilah. The neshama comes from a level which is called tehiru ilah, which means the superior or the supreme purity. It's a term that's found in the Zohar. Like it says, there's a pasuk where it says, like the clearness of the heavens, the etzem klare reinkai. He repeats it in Yiddish to make it more clear, and it means something which is clear, undiluted, pure. The neshama has the ultimate bittul to godliness. There's no separateness. There's no independence. There's no feelings or thoughts or any nuance which is not godly. Every part of the neshama is one with Hashem. It's clear. Down here, it's not so clear. There's things that don't allow us to disturb the clear vision of our godliness in the neshama, in the world, the laws of nature. This is what it means, Dam Ayim Basa. If you look in Pirkei Avos, let's take a look inside. It'll help a little bit. Page 31. Page 31 is Pirkei Avos. And it says, a person should look at three things. And if you look at these things, you'll never do an Aveira. The first one, it's underlined, it says, Dam Ayim Basa, know where you come from. And then he goes on to say, where's the source of a person? It's nothing. That's the simple pshat. What's the deeper Hasidic pshat? It means like this, da, you should know. Where do you come from? From ayin. What's ayin? Ayin, when we say Hashem created the world, what do we say? He created yesh? The ayin. Ayin is referring to a level of godliness that's called ayin. Ayin means there's nothing there. What do you mean nothing there? Hashem is there. Of course Hashem is there. But it means there's nothing there that interferes with Hashem. Nothing there that disturbs the pureness of godliness. There's nothing there that's in the way. Down here, I feel myself. I feel my desires. I feel my thoughts, which are separate from Hashem. Up there, it's ayin. There's only Hashem, and all the gashmias and all the other things that interfere with Hashem's presence are non-existent. We should remember that's where our neshama comes from. And after that, that's the origin of the neshama. But after that, the neshama starts descending. Ata v'rasa. First we say, Hashem, you created the neshama. Ata yitzarta, you formed the neshama. Ata nafachta, you blew the neshama into it. What are these three terms? They say that I'm shachas and neshama, b'briya, yitzira, asil, establish v'guf. This is describing how the neshama becomes invested in the body. First, Ata Brasa is the world of Bria. Then it goes down lower, Yotzarta, the world of Yitzira. Then it comes down lower in this world of Asiya, and Hashem invested in the body. That means you blew it into me. So this is how the neshama changes. With each level, it transforms, it changes, it becomes much, much more distant from Hashem and becomes less sensitive to godliness and less aware of godliness. And of course, down here in this physical world, in the body, it's the epitome of concealment. But the essence of the neshama is l'mayla. The nikra mazel, and that part of the neshama is called mazel. Why is he letting us know that it's called mazel? Because he's soon going to, first of all, bring the source in Gemara about the mazel, and then he'll also explain the reason why. When you say mazel, you think of mazel tov, good luck. There's much more depth to the word mazel than that. And in Mirza Hashem, we will do this on Monday after Hanukkah, last day of Hanukkah. Mirza Hashem will continue. I just wanted to get started with the Lech lecha. Okay. Yeah.